And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Sobros Network proudly brings to you some in-depth movie discussion with our resident film critic, Brandon Vick.
Happy evening, everyone. The Vick's Flicks podcast is here.
Welcome back for another episode of the Vick's Flicks podcast right here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. I'll be your host for the show, the EIC at Sobros Network, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Collectively, we are at Sobros Network. And of course, all of our movie work can be found on Nashville Movie Dispatch at nashvillemoviedispatch.substack.com. Joined as usual by the star of the show himself, the man whose namesake it bears. He is a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association. He's our resident film critic here on Nashville Movie Dispatch, Mr. Big Shot himself, Brandon Vick. Brandon, how you doing on this fine Monday morning? Definitely not Sunday evening the night before.
Right.
Monday morning, fresh, ready to talk about Superman.
Feeling good. Got my Carb Master chocolate milk.
Yeah?
And a blueberry muffin.
Man, blueberry muffins are... I think it's low-key one of the best breakfast foods out there. It doesn't get the credit it deserves.
I like them, and I usually put them in the microwave for like 12 seconds.
Do you put butter on top of them, or is that too far?
I have, but no, I haven't done that in a while.
I'll slice them in half, put a little bit of butter on both sides, and put them in the toaster oven and toast them for a little bit. Very good.
Well, that could be
muffins,
good.
Yeah.
One of my go-tos is there is a keto cinnamon bread.
Ooh,
and I'll put that in the toaster and heat it up.
Okay.
And then I mix in this, I don't know the name, but basically it's like a natural sugar, and I mix it with cinnamon, and I sprinkle that on top with butter.
There you go.
Sounds good. So it's a healthier version of a cinnamon toast.
Living life.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay. Oh, you have more to add?
No, we don't have anything else to talk about. What else do I eat for breakfast? No, that's it. I am a breakfast guy, though. My wife is not a breakfast person.
Same here, man.
They don't eat it. And I remember my uncle saying this on vacation once. When I wake up, I'm basically ready to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
And my uncle's like, I don't know how you just wake up and eat breakfast. Like, I kind of have to sit for like a little bit.
You know,
but he drinks coffee, and I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't do that.
I gotta have.
So for me,
it takes 2 cups of coffee in the morning just to start my heart.
See, and you're not alone. But for me, that's like, no, there's 2 things I have to do every morning: take my allergy medicine and get me some breakfast.
See, what's weird is if I sleep in, like on the weekends, if I can sleep in till, these days 8 o'clock is late for me. Mm-hmm. But if I sleep in till 8 and wake up naturally, my stomach's growling. I can get out of bed and eat breakfast. If I wake up early, 6 or 7 or something, can't go back to sleep. I have to sit for a bit until it's like 8 o'clock before I can eat. So I don't know if it's something about like the rhythm of my body or what, but if I wake up early, I can't, like, my stomach feels weird until we get to normal breakfast time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. This is a great podcast. We should just talk about our stomachs and breakfast.
Well, let's continue after you introduce our other guy. Well, let's see what he likes.
We do have that third voice you heard here. Our buddy Brett is back to talk about Superman with us. Brett, how are you doing today, and what is your normal breakfast routine?
I'm doing good. Because we're recording so early, I didn't even get breakfast this morning. I accidentally overslept and had to come in my pajamas.
Yeah.
But I am team.
What now? Excuse me.
My pajamas.
Okay. Gotcha.
I am team sit before eating, and I can be team no breakfast, but I've started. Here's what I've started doing. I am excited to talk about this. I've started mixing yogurt and granola.
Dude, it's
maybe
a
some
great move.
berries. My
Yeah.
wife
Yeah.
calls me bougie for this, but I like it a lot.
That's called healthy.
Yeah.
I should do that more often.
My wife turned me onto that too. It was like almost like a healthier cereal, I think is the aim, but like the Greek yogurt has something in it that's supposed to be good for you, and then you can kill the like sour flavor of the Greek yogurt with just I like the Kind granola. Like Kind bars, they do granola too.
Yeah.
And they've got like a some kind of like blueberry vanilla granola.
Oh, that
and
could
it
be
has
good.
the little dried blueberries in with it. Fantastic.
That does
I
sound
like
good.
those kind ones. They do zero sugar ones that I'll have as a treat.
How about that?
But do you drink? You don't drink coffee, do you?
I do.
You do? I couldn't remember if you did. Did you do it in college?
Maybe not so much, but I'm like Stoney now. That like there are people, and I guess this is the way you are, that say, I don't really need caffeine in the morning. I can kind of take or leave it. I am not that way. Like I need it for utility purposes.
Now I'm grumpy.
same
as
here.
I'm grumpy as shit in the morning, but I didn't grow up.
It's-
My mom loves coffee. My dad does not drink it. I guess I took after him. My wife does not drink it, but her sister, like I believe, like Stoney and his wife, has to have it, and if not, they have headaches.
It's
So
it's a really weird feeling. It used to not affect me when I was young. It's like an addiction.
Yeah,
it really
that's what
is.
it sounds like.
If I don't have it, I'm grumpy
You
in the
feel like-
morning. I'm like irritable with my
Shit,
wife.
they get headaches.
I'm short. Yeah, I'll get headaches if I don't have any at all. But then I also, it's like a focus thing too. I can tell a difference when I haven't had a
When you
cup
have-
of coffee in the morning
God. Does
by
that
how
scare
I'm
you a
able to
little?
like sit and focus on my work. It's almost like it legitimately wakes me up.
I try to have, if I don't have my chocolate milk, I will have my sugar-free chai tea.
Chai tea's
I
good,
like
too.
that. And I like the way Starbucks does theirs. I have a specific way I like it, but I like it.
Yeah.
There's a meme that I saw one time that said something like, there's a few minutes every morning that I think I'm in a good mood and having a good day, and then my coffee wears off, and I feel that deeply. Like,
Yeah.
Do you?
Well,
I just don't. I'm kind of glad I never got into it.
yeah, it's probably better.
I mean, I like
Yeah.
other stuff that I have to get rid of, but I think when I was a kid, I thought like, oh, what is this like? And basically, if you put like a dump truck full of sugar and cream, you can make anything taste good.
That's right.
But actual coffee, it's very weird because I love the smell, but I do not like the taste.
It's
smell.
definitely acquired taste.
Yeah.
But the smell is what, like going into a coffee shop, even at Starbucks or whatever, or if someone's making a pot, I love the smell of it, but I could never
do
drink
you
it.
do cream and sugar in yours?
I don't most of the time because I'm not
Drink it
opposed.
black?
Yeah,
Okay.
often. But
Do you like the way I asked that? Like I know what that tastes like. I have no idea.
well, and I do that. I do that on and off if I'm trying to like watch calories or something like that.
Yeah.
I won't do that. But I mean, there's a ton of like zero. I have had seasons where I have been what I call a coffee bro, and by that I mean Chemex, French press, like all of the
Fancy.
like hand pour stuff. I just bought a really nice machine from Amazon Prime Days.
oh,
So I have a
about
new
that?
machine
How
now
about
that
that?
I'm pretty
Oh.
excited about.
I
But
could-
usually I drink it black. JC likes cream in it.
okay.
I do cream and cream only unless I like a flavor. I like a flavored cream. And if I don't have that option, then I'll sprinkle like maybe 2 packs of sugar or something in it to kind of sweeten it up.
but you mainly don't use sugar. Neither
Main-
one of you.
No.
Okay.
No. Because I mean, if you get some of these like flavored creamers, like there's already
Yeah.
sugar in
Well, I
it,
was going to say there
and
has.
it's-
I would
and it's-
imagine.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it
no.
can be a lot, but
I never
I
got
could
into
never do the plain black is almost like too acidic on my stomach. And
Yes.
every time I drink it black, I end up getting heartburn. So I'm like,
Do
I put the cream in and it's fine. So I don't know how the science behind how that works, but it does.
Do you guys, and let me know when we have a few minutes to talk about Superman. Do you guys only drink it in the morning, or do you drink it throughout the day?
I will drink it.
Is there a cutoff?
I've gotten better about this because it did get to a point where, I mean, you remember like the early days of Sobros when I was
Yeah.
pumping out like 8 articles a day, and
Yeah.
we were still doing podcasts and stuff like that, I would drink cups of coffee at like 6 to 7 o'clock at night to help me
Wow.
stay up later. And then I started, this is what a podcast this is. Like the older you get, your body starts changing, your metabolism slows down. You start to realize like if you eat something, you feel it. You like I started to get to a point where like my hands would be sweat. It'd be like 11 o'clock at night and my hands would be clammy. I would be like, my heart would be racing. My stomach would be upset. And I was like, what could possibly be causing this? And then you read into it and it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be drinking coffee past like noon.
I'll be honest. I always thought it was gross when, like, I remember being in office types and like people would go get coffee and it was like not even like the Frappuccino stuff where people go to Starbucks and kind of, depending on what time of day it is a different drink, where they would just drink that same coffee throughout the day and they'd have it at 3 and 4 in the afternoon. I thought,
I'm really bad about it at the holidays because I just love the holiday flavors, and there's something about
so it's like a treat.
driving around looking at Christmas lights with a warm cup of coffee in your hands.
But that's
like,
hot chocolate, you see.
Well,
You should have
the hot chocolate's too sweet for me.
Is it? Well,
so I can't do it too often. I try to keep it to like 1 to 2 cups a season. But
oh, okay, that white chocolate, hot chocolate,
my goodness, so much.
it's Starbucks.
Yeah. But I used to be that way where it was like 2 cups. I would have a cup when I woke up in the morning. Once I got to the office, I would make another cup, and then I would eat lunch around noon, and I would have a cup after lunch, and then I would have another cup at like 2:33, and then some nights to keep me working, I would have another one at like 6 to 8 at night. But then I cut back, and now unless it's a treat in those rare situations where I get one like after dinner or something, then I'd drink my 2 cups in the morning, and that's it.
But see, you're not a big soda drinker.
No, I'm not.
Are you a soda drinker?
Not so much anymore. I used to be all the time.
Yeah,
but
and I think that's kind of where my thing is. I only drink basically zero sugar stuff, but I love zero sugar Cokes. Now, I will say for the most part, I only have 1 a day. Sometimes 2 a day, but
do you drink those early, like for caffeine, or
no?
Okay.
No. It's something in a weird way I look forward to because
Little treat.
I kind of see it as a treat because most part is morning stuff. But I'll have it at lunch. I don't really have it at dinner that much, but I will have one at lunch. Or if I get, let me tell you something. If I get popcorn at a movie, my wife will say, just get a water. And I say, oh, hell to the no. If I get popcorn, I got to have a soda.
Blasphemy.
And it's either Coke Zero, which I will say AMC does have all my Coke Zero stuff, but I don't go there that often. But Pepsi Zero Sugar is pretty good.
Yeah, I've had it recently.
I will have that because I'll be honest, having the regular stuff, it tastes syrupy. I actually don't like it. I don't like regular Coke. I don't like regular Pepsi. It tastes gross now.
Yeah.
Not used
Yeah,
to.
I've built up
But it
the
used to.
similar sort of tolerance.
And the same thing, and I hope people are still listening. I will tell you,
we might have lost them at this
last
point.
year, we were somewhere. It was a vacation, or maybe we were staying at my mother-in-law's. I can't remember. But somebody had Purity chocolate milk, which I used to love and drink all the time. And it was one of those small ones like you get at the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, that thing tasted so sugary. It was disgusting. I could not believe that I was drinking that and it tasted good. Like, it just goes to show you if you can change your taste. But I can't ever really give up soda. The zero sugar Coke and zero sugar cherry Coke and zero sugar Dr. Pepper are delicious.
When I get the craving, I do like a good Diet Coke with a meal. I don't know what kind of sense
See,
that
I don't
makes.
like Diet Coke either.
But I whenever I get the hankering for some bubbles, I go with the seltzer water.
Oh, really?
I drink those a lot too.
I have the flavored water, like the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And I like that. I like the black. Is it black cherry?
Black cherry.
Yeah, I like
my
that
wife
one a
drinks
lot.
those.
And the one that tastes like 7-Up. It's a lemon lime type thing, but it does taste like 7-Up. And when I used to drink liquor, if you poured that in, that tasted good.
I'm really glad that y'all invited me to be on this episode of The Growing Male
Me
Body.
too. Well, listen, let me tell you. We usually start with the weather. So the fact that we started on breakfast and drinks, which, by the way, there is a lot of discussion about coffee now, and I'm just like I'm shocked I didn't get into it. I'm shocked I didn't like sugar in it. And I guess I just took after my dad because my mom drinks it to this day. Now, she didn't drink it in the afternoon, but she would have at least 2 or 3 cups in the morning because she would get up at like 6 in the morning. And that's when she worked. And Dad never did it. And I just like, I guess I just did what he did but another thing, which I'll get off of it, but you were talking about like, he loves cereal and so does my mom. I hate cereal. I don't eat cereal.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I think my wife could eat it. Like we've got 3 or 4 boxes of cereal in the pantry at all time, and I maybe eat like 2 bowls of cereal a year.
The fact of thinking of eating cereal sogged down by milk makes it sounds gross to me.
I could house some cereal right now.
And you know what? And the thing is, I tried it and I laughed. A few months ago, we got Lucky Charms, and my son ate the marshmallows.
Delicious.
And I swear to God, that's what I did. I only ate the marshmallows.
I pour my cereal in the milk and I wait a few minutes so that the cereal can get a little soggy before I eat it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just think of it that like someone's already chewed on it. I don't know. I can't get it.
All right. Superman.
Yeah, sorry. Speaking of the biggest movie, I guess biggest movie of the year so far.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like one of those films. There, not to say there haven't
What a
been
transition!
blockbusters.
Go ahead, yeah.
But this kind of feels like the first movie that everybody's going to see. Like everybody I know,
yeah, that's fair,
has made time to go see Superman, and
yeah.
I don't know. It's really interesting because it does kind of feel like there is a divide between like the diehard comic book fans, diehard super fans seem to be loving this movie, and the divide seems to be the people that maybe aren't so familiar with the character or aren't like comic book people,
right? Or that love Zack Snyder,
or loves the Snyder Bros are still out there for sure.
Yeah,
talking about comparing this to Zack Snyder's Superman and the stark contrast and the seriousness.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. But it does kind of feel like there is a divide on this movie between the more, I don't want to say serious film critics, but maybe the people that aren't as attached to the character as the comic book fans are, which I think is an interesting place to start for this, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
Like, which camp are you in?
Oh, I'm probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I don't read comic books, so I don't know anything that I think what we were talking about, where you kind of have some knowledge going in. I actually realized I don't really know shit about Superman except for the basics, which is him, Lois, and Lex Luthor. But I also wouldn't say, like, to me, I didn't leave, like, it's a good movie, but I didn't leave thinking it was, like, the greatest comic book movie, or that I thought it was a nice start for James Gunn's DC Studios.
On the spectrum of comic book movies over the last, like, decade or so, good to bad, where would Superman fit for you?
I mean,
specifically in comic book movies, I mean.
Just comic book movies?
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider it better than most Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel, I've kind of put Multiverse of Madness. I don't know, in 10 years. Is Shang-Chi in there too?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay, Shang-Chi is the highest.
2015 was like Ant-Man, so just after Avengers 2.
I feel like that kind of Shang-Chi is kind of top tier.
Yeah.
I really like Thunderbolts. I mean, DC-wise, I mean, listen, the Batman is the Batman.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
Borderline untouchable. So it's almost kind of right in. I mean, it's not top shelf, and I would probably go a couple tiers under that. As far as Superman movies,
it's a low bar.
Correct. But parts of me, and I want to read something because I saw this today and thought, you know what, I get what he's saying. It's Mark Johnson, who I follow on Twitter. It's at Mark Likes Movies. says, I think the past 18 years have lowered everyone's standards. And I do think there is some truth to that James Gunn's movie is far from perfect, I think. But I think it does a great job at capturing what fans have been wanting to see and maybe have gotten glimpses of it with, whether it's the Superman shows that have happened,
Yeah.
or specifically maybe from, I don't even know if we wanted like Superman Returns, but especially Snyderverse stuff with Henry Cavill. I do see where this is a breath of fresh air. I think it is a nice kind of restart. But I also feel like as a critic, I watch this movie for what it is, not reading anything that might add to it. And I do kind of feel like, okay, you know what? It's a nice start, but I don't think it has like, it didn't change the game for me as far as just that. But again, I liked it. It's a very comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
I told you guys, I got, on top of just James Gunn's DNA with like Guardian stuff and the Suicide Squad, things that he's done, the humor, the vibe of it, some of the music, it did kind of remind me of like the old Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's
some
mostly
early 2000s vibes.
Yes. But that's a very comic book movie.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of silly and goofy, but it also captures a lot of what people liked and what was in the comic books and kind of the tone it wants to set, even though I think it does get a bit uneven with this one a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't, I've certainly, there are better. I've seen a lot worse, but I think James Gunn is the perfect guy to do these kinds of movies, even if I may not totally agree with how it was ultimately told and shown.
What about you, Brett? Where are you at with, well, first of all, like your familiarity with the Superman character and whether or not you think your love of the comic books is something that is going to impact your enjoyment of this film?
Yeah, I am not I'm not into the Superman comics, so I don't know, like, since I've seen the movie, I've done a fair amount of reading of people saying, you know, this connected to All-Star Superman or Superman All-Star, whichever order it is there. You know, just these various, like, very specific stories in the comic books. That said...
Sorry, can I say, to your point, I looked this up, and you're right. It looks like it's called All-Star Superman, and it ran from November of 2005 to October of 2008. And it said that it revolved around Superman, who is actually dying to his overexposure to Earth's sun as he accomplishes many heroic feats, and it says the 12 labors of Superman, and attempts to make peace with the world before his imminent death. I would not think that's where he would get inspiration from, as it kind of seems like it's Superman on his way out. But I read the same thing, and it's supposedly All-Star Superman.
And I think there's a few other connections of comic books
Yeah,
in there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That said, I liked the movie. Without reservation, I'll say that. If we want to say in the last decade, let's say post Avengers Endgame, which I feel like is a very natural dividing line for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think this is certainly one of the better iterations we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing to me, even not having that connection to the comic books, I had kind of heard that, you know, this is more of a comic book movie. This is more of, I've heard others describe it as a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
And I'm into that. Like that works for me. Honestly, what didn't work for me as much, or I don't even know if I want to say didn't work, but the part where I had hesitation was the parts that touched really close to real life now. Like, I wish that they would have leaned even more. I mean, you brought up the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Like, those are very clear, like, okay, here's this bad guy who just hates the good guy, and they're against each other, and, like, if it's going to be escapist, let's escape. Let's do it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
James Gunn does kind of take some liberties. I think it's an interesting decision to not really piece together an origin story. Like you would think like, oh, this is a fresh start for DC. They're going to start over. This is ground zero kind of deal. But it's not an origin story at all. I think he does ask fans to be a little up to speed on who these characters are and what their motives are and that sort of thing. Do you think that's the right call? Does it enhance the movie, or do you think that's probably a source of what is drawing some criticism, is that maybe he didn't take time to introduce the characters?
Personally, I liked it a lot. Because there's been enough Superman movies recently that even if you're someone like me that's not familiar with the comic books, really not even familiar with the first movies in this franchise, that those beats. He's an alien. He was sent here by his parents. His parents on Earth are not. And so just to kind of jump straight in, like, that was refreshing to me, because otherwise I'm just waiting to get through that part so that we can get on with whatever this new story is.
Yeah, I agree. I don't need to find out that his world's coming to an end, his parents ship him off. Like, that's fine. And honestly, and then, with his Kansas parents, that's a lot of time spent on stuff that we already know. And obviously we're going to get pieces of it anyway. As far as, to me, I only know Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And that's only because there's been movies made with Green Lantern. I mean, it's not like I really know that story. So I don't mind these new characters. And Stoney and I were talking about this earlier, where I'm kind of glad we don't start showing kind of the big names like Aquaman and all. Like, not only is there time for that, but we've seen it. So I like that he's kind of shining the spotlight on characters that, well, for me, I didn't really know anything about. Mr. Terrific, I didn't even know. That Elemental Man, I don't know anything about them. I do think that maybe sometimes it did kind of feel like maybe there were too many characters that you didn't know, and you didn't quite know how it fit into like this story, or like, I don't need an origin story for everybody, but I did kind of feel like there were some where like they kind of came in and then were taken back out, and I didn't really get much out of it. Now, maybe it's because I'm not caught up in who the people are, but then they also would have their, like, Mr. Terrific to me was a scene stealer. Like, I actually did not realize he would, like, I like the guy, who's the green guy?
Guy Gardner.
That's played by Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Who's a James Gunn regular at this stage. I liked him in it, but for some reason I expected more out of him, but instead Mr. Terrific came along, and I'm like, oh, I really I like him, and I know he's in something.
Yeah, we didn't
but
look
his
that up.
delivery seemed very familiar, but at the same time, I just don't know if all of it was necessary. And I did think some of it did kind of feel either like kind of falling on like the thin side, or kind of undefined as far as like who they are. But is that chalked up to, well, that's because we're going to have a Lantern show, and well, Mr. Terrific's going to, but I can only look at this movie and decide, like, clearly he's building out of everything. I get it. He's restarting something, but also trying to expand it. And that's a kind of a tough thing to balance. But there were times where it kind of did feel like, oh, okay, Lady Hawk and stuff, or Hawk, is it Hawk Girl? Lady Hawk.
Hawk.
That's a different movie.
Lady Hawk is my new band.
Yeah, yeah. And is the drummer Smash Mouth in it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I did kind of feel like we didn't need all of them to kind of tell this story. But again, I don't want to make this too confusing for everybody, but I'm like, well, yeah, Mr. Terrific did have like some pretty good scenes, and I loved Stoney's wife had mentioned it earlier, and it kind of did remind me of in Guardians 2, the whistle arrow. Mr. Terrific does that thing with his balls, and Lois is looking, and I'm like, that. It's stuff like that that is cool, and I really did like Mr. Terrific. I think he was kind of my MVP outside of like the three main ones. But I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but to that point, with some of these other characters, I also feel like, for instance, Lois Lane kind of gets forgotten in the mix. She kind of pops in, pops back out, and she's kind of on this other journey with them trying to, and I feel like we don't really get enough of her in Superman, because I think one of the best scenes is the interview that she does like within the house. And I love Rachel Brosnahan in it. She is Miss Maisel fame.
Yeah,
I think she's great. I just wish we kind of got more of her and not more of like some scenes that just seemed to me, it just wasn't necessary in the big scheme of things. But I mean, again, that may play out as this world builds. But
you know, I was, and this is kind of devil's advocate a little bit. I understand what you're saying, and I don't outright disagree. I will say, going in, I had a concern that there were too many characters, and specifically that there were going to be too many villains. Something that was a pleasant surprise for me, because we've seen plenty of superhero movies. In particular, Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 is a good example to me, that it's like you can't focus on who's the real like baddie here, because
that's true.
We're split kind
That's
of
true.
opposition.
Right.
And I was worried that could be a problem with this movie, but it quickly becomes clear they're all under Lex Luthor. Like, they are to some degree his minions sent out.
Yes.
And so I thought it worked better
They all
in that
report to him.
regard. And on the other side, Superman's not in control of all the good guys, so to speak, but he's the head of that tree. And so it worked for me in that way, that there were still two clearly defined sides.
Well, and what's noticed about, like, there are already things established.
Yes.
That you're kind of walking in, and Superman's on his thing 3 years, him and Lois 3 months. What's the name of guy's thing? What is it?
The Justice Gang?
Is that what that's what they call it, right?
Yeah.
And like that, so part of it is kind of just accepting it, but then there are
like, imagine watching this movie if you don't know what a Green Lantern is, and Guy Gardner is just like putting oven mitts on a giant. You're just kind of like, what?
No, I think it's easy for a casual viewer to get lost.
Yeah.
There is no question about that. And even for myself, that's not a full-blown comic book fan, and like you were talking about, a Superman fan at that.
Yeah.
I like it because it's unique in its presentation of these characters, and there's characters that aren't, at least in my mind, not that well established or well known. But I think, well, I kind of want to see more building with that Lois Lane and other things, without kind of shifting the focus too much on a gang that maybe we learn more about later. Like, I'm also playing that game in my head as I'm watching.
Would you say that you are asking for more relationship building and less world building?
Yeah, a little. That's a good way to put it, because I think the world building is already sort of there. Like, as far as where we're getting dropped off at, I think I kind of got it with Metropolis and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why don't we, and especially when you're told, like, 300 years, 30 years, whatever. And then, but with Lois Lane and kind of them early meeting, there is kind of that stuff that gets into it, where I kind of am more drawn to that than I am maybe more of the Justice Gang and some of the stuff where, like, I'm not saying they don't serve a purpose. I just don't, I don't know. I'm not as intrigued, I guess, as I would be. But maybe it's also because I am familiar with some of these characters and want to know more than just somebody that's introduced where, he's a Green Lantern. Oh, he's not the original. Okay, Mr. Tripp, not sure. You know what I mean?
I'm willing to meet you halfway in that the interview scene poses a very interesting question.
Yeah.
How they get through this in their relationship.
Right.
That we never really revisit. That's a big
Right.
That's a big
Right.
question. It's like what her insinuation is that you don't have the moral authority to make the judgment you just made.
Right.
And they never really go back to explore that question. They
Trace-
just kiss at the end, and we assume
Exactly.
oh, they've both gotten over their
Trace
issues.
that to the way the movie ends, and you're like, well, that wasn't cleared. Like none of that was cleared up.
I think that's a fair criticism.
And what makes it even more so is because I thought that was one of the strongest scenes in the entire movie because it strips it down to, like you said, and I think a great thing about this movie is, yes, he's an alien, but there are those human flaws that he has, and then she is going after him for the decisions he's made, and it's more of that emotional part that erupts more than actually thinking it through, where he thinks he can just do whatever he wants and people will love it. And love him for it.
Yeah, which I do think is a unique take on the character as far as the Superman movies go. They've done it in the comics, obviously, but like James Gunn putting us into a world where it's not just Superman, gee, by golly gosh, I'm going to save these kittens from a tree, and everybody in town loves me for it. The world feels pretty divided on Superman.
Yeah.
And to me, that was kind of a refreshing angle for him to take in this movie as well.
And Brett, what you were saying, I liked that it has some relevance to things. Like it also makes me believe in what, like, no matter what side someone is on with Superman, you see the opinions that come out, and it's almost like someone can't be out to just do good. That's not like we can't fathom that part. I in my notes I have where in this day and age, in the world we're living in, it is very topical on what James Gunn is doing. And I like the way he presents it, because that is that's Superman's story of just an alien, just in the purest definition of an alien. But it's also about people are people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whatever walk of life that you have. And so to me, I think there's always something where no matter how much of a fantasy this is, I think there's things in the themes and the topics that it addresses that keeps it grounded, and it keeps it grounded enough to where you were like, oh, like your perspective's there. Now, whatever perspective you have, but it's in this movie and you can recognize it. And James Gunn is no dummy. He knows you can recognize what he's saying. Again, agree with it or not, but I like some sense of reality to it, because it's still, to me, it's still this, fantasy, right? But with everything, and I think it kind of happens in some of the best ones, like the Batman and Dark Knight, there's just those things where it's like, yeah, but it's still, it's closer to home than you might think, even though the characters and, the story overall is like, something that seems out of this world.
And you're right. Like that way of framing the story is not new for superhero movies at all.
Yeah.
I think I kind of, especially some of the early returns I heard on this, I think I was expecting that it would be less that way. And here's the thing. I'm not saying, like, don't make it touch on real world things. It just felt at points like two different movies to me, because it was kind of very Saturday morning cartoon. The good guy wins, like the bad guy's going down. But it was also like, but also in this fantasy world where everybody's used to meta-humans flying around, they're also about to have World War III. And I was just hoping we could forget about that for a little bit.
Fair enough.
Well, that's wishful thinking.
I never went back to actually write down the man's actual name, but one of my notes, I just called him Cornswat. I don't know what
it's David.
David.
The
warmth with which...
Yeah, which his last name is that, which for some reason, I've never read it that way, but I think that's his name.
The warmth with which Cornswat or whatever plays Superman, and how it's juxtaposed with the coldness with which Nicholas Hoult plays Lex Luthor. There's like a nothingness behind Luthor's eyes that kind of signals to viewers his singular focus on eliminating Superman and ultimately his dastardly desires. I thought the dynamic between those two, and I don't mean like chemistry in the scenes that they're in together, but I just mean like the dynamic of what those two characters at the heart of this conflict represented, and the way that the two actors portrayed the characters was something that was particular. It was a particular strength of the film, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. There's one thing that I think really kind of makes this film as good as it is the performances, especially from David Hornswoggle, was that his name? And Nicholas Hoult, because I think he's found the best. I think he's found a good Superman, which they did a ton of casting for everything, but he is the projectionist in Pearl. And apparently James Gunn saw that and said that he had the face of Superman. And and then Nicholas Hoult read for Superman and was one of like the final three. And apparently when he was reading the script, he kind of really resonated with some of the stuff that was Lex Luthor. But he was like, I kind of was going over it because I had to focus on Superman. And then James Gunn called him and said, hey, what do you think about playing Lex Luthor? And he's like, yeah, it just made way more sense. And I'm going to tell you, he is fantastic. I mean, listen, Nicholas Holt's been great since About a Boy, but I love the actor he has become, and I really look forward to where he takes this character. And he had some great scenes towards the end where he lets out his true intentions and really like the anger, frustration, fear. Like it's awesome. Like,
and it's still like there's still that sort of coldness even in that moment where it's like
it's ruthless.
Ruthless. That's a great word
absolutely.
for it. Where it's like he is saying, like you can see the emotion bubbling up in him in his body language, but it's not coming across in his words. They're still very calculated, coherent, and to me that was kind of biting because it almost felt like he played this character in this moment where internally, like there is something that is trying to burst out of him, and he is still like keeping that contained. And I thought it was just such a really good moment for the character, and a really he knocked it out of the park performance from Holt. Even
before where he can really kind of like say it to his face type is when they're fighting and it's basically like a video game where he's like, B12, whatever. But he's like, B12, and you can see it. But before that, and there's something happening where I think he thinks, who is it? Is it Ultra Agent?
Ultraman.
Ultraman. And he's watching it, and he tears up. He has tears in his eyes right when and it's almost like you don't really know what it's for. Like, or there's, it's more than one meaning of why he's feeling the way he feels. And then, of course, towards the end where he's able to kind of really let you know where he stands and why he's doing what he's doing. But yeah, man, he was really good. And David is a great Superman. Like James Gunn hit it out of the park with him.
Well, I mean, even the casting of like the other ancillary characters like Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
Supergirl shows up. That's a really good casting as well.
Yep. Because she has her own movie.
Yeah, and I just felt like from top to bottom, it's like, man, they got the right people.
They got some good. Yeah, I agree. But we all know when you cast a Superman and then it's like Batman and Joker. I mean, you've got and they've got it. I mean, they really do. James Gunn has something. I mean, no matter what my kind of quarrels are with the movie, I really like. I would go see the sequel. I'm very excited about what James Gunn and DC can do from here. We were talking about, I'm not sure if it's going to all involve Matt Reeves' stuff or not, but I like where this is going. I just kind of feel like, I I don't know. I mean, I feel like sometimes you have to kind of keep it at a distance and like, yes, it's fun, but as a comic book movie, what did I get out of it and anything else? Because I do think story-wise, you guys may not agree, I did kind of feel like it was a bit messy at times, and I feel like part of it was because we were having these moments where, like the interview scene and everything else, then it does kind of become Saturday morning cartoon. But then we kind of go into some of the characters, and it's kind of like, okay, well, all right, but what about this? What about with this part? And so sometimes it just felt like it was overstuffed. Maybe it was trying to do too much in one movie. Maybe we are trying to kind of put so much in one where we can't let some of these characters show up in other things. And I'm sure there is a grand plan for all of it. But like I said, I can only watch one movie and take it for what it is. But I will say with that, I already talked about performances. I have a note in here where I did love Superman, Lex Luthor, and everything. Some really gorgeous shots. There are some great
action scenes.
Yes. I haven't put any of the flying fighting sequences I thought were great.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done.
Mr. Terrific scene where they show up at the camp and he puts her in the protective force field and then just kicks ass. That's very well done. Yeah, very visually pleasing film. Or I imagine, because I saw it at Regal Providence.
Correct.
Dirty, foggy headlights lens over it.
Let me ask you this. So I really like the way James Gunn does. I remember really liking Slither, and I watched that when I was younger. But especially the Guardians movies, which I think is one of the best trilogies. I dare say the best comic book trilogy. I really enjoyed his Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I did kind of feel like sometimes that humor that he's known for sort of felt either the humor was like it was kind of weak, or it just felt out of place in some scenes where I feel like if we kind of stuck to what he was doing right before he would add something, I felt like maybe it would be more effective or it'd be stronger in story-wise. Did you guys ever get that impression, or did you ever feel like, hey, listen, maybe too much on one and not enough on the other?
I actually thought that I felt like he dialed the humor back a little bit compared to the last Guardians movie. To me, that was something that bugged me, was like, and this is like a big heart kind of story, and a lot of these moments feel kind of shoehorned in. And I felt like there were a couple of those moments in Superman, but it didn't hit me the way that it did in
he did dial it back. I'll give you that. But I feel like when it was placed, it was like, okay. And not that there weren't some funny moments, there are, but then there's also times where I felt like I just don't think it was needed. Like I felt like that scene could have played out and you didn't need it there. And maybe he was just trying to break it up or something, but did you?
It worked for me for the most part. Okay. I feel like in recent years, again, a trope of comic book movies is they're going to have like little quips in them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just painful when it's like,
cringe.
Oh, this does not work.
Yeah.
And I felt like it worked for the most part. I do agree that because that's his style, it was almost like it had to be in there at moments when maybe you could have done without it. Yeah. But it felt more natural to me. It did not feel that cringy kind of, we're just making this happen.
It didn't feel as forced. It just felt like something where it's almost like enough time had passed where he feels like he had to do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, maybe we didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, nothing. It wasn't painful at all. I just felt like somewhere I'm like, well, I don't think we needed to do that. But again, I mean, that's a little here and there, but for somebody that actually really loved the way he kind of did it with Suicide Squad, like Guardians, you're introduced to it. The whole trilogy is like that. But then with Suicide Squad, you kind of saw a little bit. But again, it's that goofy silliness, cartoonish part that I like a lot. But then it's almost like with a Superman property, it's kind of like, okay, well, do you dip into it too much when you don't have to? Or is this him establishing this is how this is going to go, but the next movie may not, and the other director may not, or
an interesting thing along those lines is, I've heard somebody else talking about this recently, that Superman even throughout movies historically, is a more serious character and often has a more serious story. And so, Guardians, they're a team of misfits, and it's kind of like what the Justice
That's what
Gang
Suicide
is in
Squad
this,
is too, really.
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so the humor makes more sense in that way. In this one, I mean, because the Superman character is still one of the more serious characters in the movie, and maybe that's why it kind of clashes at times.
But then I'm like, okay, like it's almost like I hold him responsible for it. But then I think of the other Superman movies that have come along in the most recent versions, and it's like, okay, I see why we don't want to go down that road.
Yes,
where
Yeah.
it's so it's kind of like, well, you have to do something.
I would prefer this
different.
alternative.
Yeah, I would too.
I think what I enjoyed most about the film is like what it really cut to that I wasn't expecting, and it was kind of the conversation about what it means to be human.
Yeah.
And the complexities of doing what you think is right. Like we're all doing the best that we can, but not realizing how the implications of those actions may affect others.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really good exploration of that. I thought what growth in a relationship looks like was pretty well represented. We don't have to be what our parents want us to be. We haven't even talked about the parents from Kansas, which were, those two were a point of criticism for a lot of people too, like the over-the-top caricatures of like country bumpkins,
Seem
maybe
like country hillbillies,
maybe a little bit too far. Which I kind of, there were times that I was
think
like, oh, they're laying it on thick here.
The
But
phone stuff, as
Yeah,
if they've never
yeah.
seen it. But then I really like the conversation he has with his dad, which I don't know about you guys, but the whole time he was talking, I'm thinking that's that crazy dude from Identity. So, but yeah, that's. But I thought it was a sweet moment when they actually got there. But that first scene where it's like they've never seen a cell phone before, was kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, I see.
I think it touches on like the dangers of propaganda in this too, and ultimately like Superman's attitude towards humanity of being like, for all the flaws of the human race, everyone is still deserving of love and redemption, which I thought was a powerful thing. And his line in the movie when he's telling Lois, like, maybe that's the real punk rock to me. Like, if you could sum this movie up in a line, it was that one to me, because then doing that kind of paints it's James Gunn kind of painting this character in a different light than we're used to seeing him, because it is quite contrarian in this day and age, and there is part of that holding up the mirror to the audience.
Yeah.
Like it is quite contrarian in this day and age to be someone that truly and wholly looks out for not just other people, but the squirrel on the road that's, about to get stepped on. Like, some of that's over the top in selling that about Superman. I think part of it is kind of tongue in cheek. We're making fun of how good and dopey
I can see that.
this
Yeah,
guy
I'd
is.
say, yeah.
But the ultimate message of, I think it actually is a little more counterculture to be the guy that always wants to do what's right than the guy that looks out for his own self-interest at times. And I thought to me that was the most powerful thing that James Gunn did. And then that protection of life that Superman represents, and how life is something precious in contention with Lex Luthor's reckless pursuit of profit, I think is where we start to get into the real life kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that Gunn portrayed that in a way where, like, here's this rich guy that can do whatever he wants, and he's just hell-bent on his own pockets and just hell-bent on revenge and killing, and it doesn't matter if he opens a rift in space-time and swallows the entire planet. He is consumed by his pursuits. But then next to that, or I should say opposite that, you have Superman, who is literally flying to save squirrels out of the street. And I thought that was something that was one of the more profound thoughts I had coming after this, was just like that spectrum. And it kind of made me think of, like, where do you fit in between it?
Yeah. And I, when I have marked down is something that, which I do think is something that everyone probably needs, but there is quite a bit that is hopeful.
Yeah.
And it's in the way that the story's told, and especially what kind of all transpires. And I mean, obviously Superman represents hope anyway, but then there's also I think the simplicity of kindness that I think has either gotten away or it never feels genuine. And there's always, they got to be up to something. And there's actual people, and especially Superman, where he really is doing good because that's what's right. And and I mean, I just feel like in this world, I could see us like we wouldn't believe it. We would think he's doing it for some other reason. Like that's just how it is. And so I really, what I probably admire the most is blurring that line of things where, like you said, you hold a mirror up and think, oh, yeah, you know what, this does remind me of this. And you know what, this does. So, and that's what I feel like is what it's supposed to do. Because again, to what I said before, is it keeps this whole thing grounded where it's not so out of reach. That you can't believe something like this is happening. Just change these two characters or change that setting, and you got something that might be it might look very familiar.
Yeah, I agree. That's the piece that worked the best for me in the movie as well. And even in the realm of comic book movies, as much as we all love The Dark Knight, and we do, that trilogy kind of sent comic book movies down this pathway of like, we're going to be dark and cynical and very real life, which like in the Batman worked so well. But it is countercultural to have something that is just optimistic and kind of goofy in ways.
For sure.
Corny, for sure. Like in a good way.
I was going to say there were some hokey parts in it too, but I also feel like
it works.
It's trying to capture that spirit of when there was almost like I don't want to say this kind of squeaky clean, but it's like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Like it wants to capture this part where it definitely has stuff on its mind, but the way it's presented, even like that glossy clean look. Well, Stoney doesn't know that this is.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie.
But like it does reveal this sort of idea of like, well, look at this world, and you know, it's almost like if you look through it through these goggles, look what it is, and it's still nice to kind of have it where, yes, a lot of it might be unfamiliar. But then there is also underneath that a lot that does stem from the world we live in and the lessons we've learned and the lessons we haven't learned.
I teared up 3 times during this movie.
Oh, damn.
Are you going to rank them?
Yeah, you have your hand out.
The bench scene with Pa in Kansas.
Yeah.
When he tells Lois he's not even a good one, but he's alone and he's probably scared right now.
Yes, I get it.
And then at the end, when he says, do you want to see the message from your parents again? And I'm thinking like, how are they going to go? But then it's footage of Ma and Pa. It got me.
I like that.
I love that last scene where
and that's James Gunn.
And they said it, and he was like, oh, he really likes this. And then it just shows all the and I'm just like, that was really well done.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about Crypto. I'm not the kind of person that says this. I don't even know that I've ever said this phrase in my life, but he really was the goodest boy.
I have him that he was a really good boy, because as much as they act like he's not even a good one, he really was.
I
love
love
the
the unruliness of Crypto.
Yeah.
I really like that aspect.
Well,
and then the payoff to seeing like why he might be so unruly because his owner is a hot mess was kind of a nice little touch
and
too.
they kind of do the whole like, well, you know, she's that. That was Good. James Gunn has said that that's basically his dog, but white. Like they actually like took a picture of his dog, formulated it, and turned it white. And I'm just like, because apparently he's a big animal lover anyway. But I love Crypto. I wasn't too sure about any of that
either.
when you saw the trailer.
Agreed.
Where he comes in, which by the way, that was basically how they showed the trailer, but I love the way it picked up where it's the first time he's lost a fight and stuff like but anyway, Crypto was a good highlight, and you felt bad where he's like chasing those squirrels and stuff, but
and it was unexpected, that opening scene. I agree. When I saw the trailer, I was like, really? The dog is dragging him back to like the dog
which
is
Crypto,
dragging
I guess, is a thing.
Superman back to the fortress of, but they even surprise you in the movie because Crypto comes and like jumps on him, like trying to
playing, yeah,
like when he's on death's doorstep,
yeah, like stepping on his ribs and stuff, yeah.
So did you guys know that Ultraman was a clone of Superman, or was that like a surprise?
Until it was revealed? No,
Okay.
I didn't.
So
know.
how did you guys think they got into the Fortress of Solitude?
Yeah, I didn't. Honestly,
nobody caught that.
I didn't even know.
They just walked right in.
I didn't even know. Well, I didn't know how Superman got in. So when he did it,
Yeah.
So when they did it,
but
and
he
walked
says it
in,
at one point, something about his DNA. Or
oh, does
something.
it? Well, I'll be honest. I just assumed like Lex Luthor like had something, just like he
I
had
was
this.
curious how non-comic book fans picked up on
when
that.
he said it, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I did wonder how they got in, but Lex Luthor has all these workarounds that I just assumed like once they found it, he was able to get in. It was finding it that was the problem.
It didn't strike me as odd in the moment either, but I did appreciate the tie back to recognize.
Yeah. For a split second, I thought it was Winter Soldier. So I got nervous.
That would have been sick.
Wouldn't that have been cool if Sebastian Stan?
Bucky Barnes. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got, boys. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Do we want to do ratings? Does it matter?
I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think it is on the better end of comic book movies of the last 10 years. I think it's, listen, I was a big Thunderbolts fan. I like
Thunderbolts, yeah.
But to me, this felt like I came out of this like, okay, I'm stoked to see what DC and James Gunn do from here. And Thunderbolts was more of that was a good movie.
Yeah.
So
but then I but I just wonder if part of it is because this is kind of a reset for DC.
Yeah.
Marvel's trying, and they're trying, now Fantastic Four will start the new phase and whatever else they have going on, which Fantastic Four does look good. But
I don't even know. I think I would go back to like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is one of the last.
That was 2021?
Yeah.
2021.
That was a movie that really surprised me, that I really loved.
Me too.
Shang-Chi is the last Marvel movie I think I bought.
Batman, Batman, excuse
the
me.
Batman, yeah.
The Batman is probably the gold standard recent years, but I
Yeah.
think I would put Superman in that tier just below it.
Yeah, I think it would be a couple tiers below that one, but I like where this is going. I wish I wasn't overly impressed, but I am still intrigued and interested. I don't think it was a mistake hiring James Gunn to do it. I'm not anywhere near there. I gave it 3. I kind of battle between 3 and 3.5, but I feel like after talking about it and everything, I'm staying with 3 out of 5, which is still a good rating. Just some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. Some stuff I wish I had more of. Some wish I had less, but I tell you what, James Gunn, stay true to who he was. I think his passion for comic books is there. I think his love for Superman is obvious. And like I said, David Hornswoggle and Nicholas Hoult are sensational, and that casting all across the board is perfect. So
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, which is the same rating that I gave Thunderbolts, but I would say I like this more than Thunderbolts. I really did like it. I had a very wait and see approach about this movie.
Me too.
And I think a lot of us did.
Yeah.
The last week or so, when early reviews started coming in, I kind of let myself get pulled into this really might be like something we've never seen. And it didn't quite reach that for me. But I did like it a lot.
I actually got nervous because the critic scores came out and it started declining. Like the more reviews came in, that Rotten Tomatoes score went down, and I was kind of like, oh no, maybe this is pretty worst case scenario. But the tomato meter, not the popcorn meter, was pretty high. So it kind of made me, that's when I started to think, I wonder if this is just one of those films where the comic book crowd's going to love it and nobody else is going to get it.
Which I think last time, I think it's still in the 80s.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, the critics one. I think the other one's is higher, but
it got down to 82.
Did it? Okay.
At one point, but I don't know what it's at now. So, well, that's going to do it then.
Well, I'm glad we all liked it, just at different degrees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. We'd all go and see the next one.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, see? That's fine.
So that's going to do it for us here on another episode of the Vick's Flicks podcast. For Brandon, for Brett, I am Stoney. And until next time, you stay classy, moviegoers.